This morning we have a dad, and he has 8,000 kids. Who is he? You'll meet him coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the E. Craig Walls Senior College of Business Administration on the campus of Coastal Carolina University. We're focused on the university, and we're visiting with its president, Dr. David A. DeCenzo. Good morning, Dr. DeCenzo.
Good morning.
Thanks so much for letting us in.
Thank you for having me.
In your house, yes.
Oh, glad you're here.
I love it. Just yesterday we had a guest in who said that this building actually reminded him of his home, Dr. Baxter Sapp, a 57-plus year dentist from Durham, North Carolina, who was in talking about the Oral Longevity Project with the American Dental Association, and hearing him talk about this building being like his home, and knowing that when you arrived here on campus, this was like your home. I guess you spent a ton of time here.
I spent a fair amount of time, 4 years in this building as Dean of the Business School.
Golly, and a lot happened here in the business school during your tenure there.
Well, a lot did. The program grew tremendously. We were setting the stage for significantly improving the quality of all aspects of the college, as well as putting in place the Masters of Business Administration.
Absolutely. The MBA program has just kicked off gangbusters.
It has. When we were contemplating it, we had some questions asked whether we could fill the seats. And we knew that it was a program that we had to offer.
Right.
And we swore that we would have 15 students to begin. We began with 34.
Oh, come on.
We began with 34. We have graduated about 15 or 16 at this point in the 2 years, and we anticipate having a class size of 75 to 80 in the fall 2009 semester.
Is that right? Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Yes,
Thank
yes. I mean, to think about anything, nurturing a baby along, of course, as the father of four, you know what it's like nurturing children along, but to see a program and a magnificent building like this, nothing better than to kick things off in a great, stable setting. But to see a program like that to birth and really grow in that fast must be wonderful.
Well, what it did and what it told us was, if you offer the programs that are in need, meet the needs of a local community, people will be there.
Right.
But we're finding that people are coming from far away to attend that program because of the quality of the business school right now and of the entire university.
Oh yeah, you know, it was fascinating just yesterday when we were talking with Dr. Sapp. He'd highlighted after he finished college, when he wanted to attend dental school, UNC Chapel Hill didn't have a dental school then, so he attended Temple in Philadelphia. And to hear him talk about now that UNC dental program is one of the most recognized, not only in the Carolinas, but in the Southeast, if not in the country. In the same way, you see something kick off, and of course, Coastal Carolina University's Master of Business Administration is just getting great to renown.
Absolutely. And again, the entire business school, not only through their reaccreditation by ACSB this year, but the identification that in 2009 they will be recognized as one of the top 300 business schools in the nation. And we're just so proud of the faculty and staff of the business school for that achievement.
That's tremendous. Here on campus since 2002, ascending to the position of provost in 2006, and then ultimately to the president. You know, you think back for yourself at College Park. Could you have ever imagined walking a campus as an undergraduate in Maryland, that ultimately someday you'd be walking a campus, any campus, but particularly a tremendous regional university like Coastal Carolina University as its president?
You know, I get asked that question a lot, and the answer is no. I had no idea when I was an undergrad that I would eventually go into academics, let alone become a president of a university. But it's a very exciting opportunity for me, and I'm just enjoying it.
The great thing is, someone was talking about you, they reflected on A1, that your initials, DAD, and that you really take on that role as a dad, but B, that you're a 24/7 president, that oftentimes you'll hear from David, from Dr. DeCenzo on a Saturday, as likely as you'd hear from him on a day like today, on a Wednesday, which is a great thing. Is that one of the real staples of what you want your presidency to be?
Well, again, to me, it's all part of what I would group under my leadership style. And you take anything with respect to leadership, with respect to managing, the common element is communications. And the whole aspect of communication to me is to be accessible. I have the tools with BlackBerries, with emails, with a whole lot of other things that I can be accessible. And while it might be something that some might say, well, it's minor, it's immaterial, that person that's writing me, it's important enough for them to send that information. And it's an opportunity for me to at least say that I care and that I'm getting back to you as quickly as I can.
Very important point. Undergraduate in economics, later getting a master's and a PhD. What was your principal focus at those early ages of life?
The early ages, well, I actually started in a police department.
Oh, wow.
Back in 1973, when I graduated from high school, I went into the Prince George's County Police Department in Maryland.
Right.
Was a police cadet for two and a half plus years.
Is that right?
While I was doing that, I was going to college. And to a large extent, to me, some of the excitement of police work started to wane. I made a comment one time that I think I was caught up in the Dirty Harry era, but some of the reality I think was setting in that it wasn't particularly what I ultimately wanted to end up doing. While I was in the police department, I was going to school part-time, had a great opportunity to finish my education at University of Maryland College Park, and I took it. Graduated at a point in time where we were in a terrible recession. And so, not sure what I was going to end up doing. I had an opportunity to go to graduate school in Morgantown, West Virginia.
Yes.
And spent 3 years, and in those 3 years earned a master's in labor economics. Most of my focus was in labor-related issues.
Okay. And
then the PhD in 1981 with an emphasis in industrial relations.
Just barely over 25 years ago. I mean, a lot has happened, and obviously a lot of your in the workforce in a consulting fashion has happened over the last 25 years.
Absolutely.
So had there been an academic in that idea during the 20-some years in the labor world of getting back in? Had there been that goal of getting back into onto a campus?
I think as I was finishing up the doctoral program, I had every intent of going into private industry. And long and short of it was I was laid off before I was hired.
Oh, come on.
Actually,
I love it.
I had taken a job with a company that was located in Pittsburgh and was getting ready to rent an apartment when the company was sold and the position was eliminated. And so during that hiring process, I had interviewed with a couple of colleges, one of which was the University of Baltimore, and the department chairman at that time said to me, sometimes things don't work out in industry. If something goes awry, give me a call. So as I was graduating and finding myself with a job that had been eliminated, I called the University of Baltimore, talked to the department chair, went for an interview, and as they say, the rest is history.
That's tremendous. Yeah. Yes.
It wasn't at the time.
No, I mean, it's tremendous that door opened up.
It did.
And that those comments have been made at an earlier stage, so you can actually take them up on that. Much like you said earlier, the person who sent you the email or made that phone call, they really meant it. They had some intention of getting it out there in the same way he meant it, and you took them up on it.
Absolutely.
Which is great. And I think we see that oftentimes in the classroom. You've got some wonderful professors who are not just here making a difference. I've seen Mark Mitchell, Professor Mitchell off campus, and you see him whether it's talking about Girl Scouts or talking about the March of Dimes. He is thinking about others, whether he's on campus or off campus.
We have so many faculty that not only do a wonderful job in the classroom, but they are truly engaged in this community. And I think all of us recognize this is our community, and we want to be part of it. And we have something that we can lend to and offer the community at large. And that truly is a hallmark of many of the people that work on this campus.
I like that, a COMM. It works on that major word of communication, and it works on community, and obviously ties into, just a couple of weeks ago, we were at the American Heart Association's office, another community role, visiting with Glenda Page, the chair of this year's 2008 START Waccamaw Area Heart Walk. And I think she highlighted during the interview that a doctor will be the Dr. David A. DeCenzo, the chair in 2009. Another great community effort there. Is that something in heart disease and stroke that really impacted you, or was it?
Well, there's obviously been family members. You realize the seriousness of heart disease in our society, and this again is just one small way of trying to give back and to take a lead role in helping those who need to be helped.
Yes, very definitely. Sitting here in this, sitting in the E. Craig Wall Senior College of Business Administration, as you moved into the role of provost, walking around campus, are there some places that over those early years, your tenure here as dean, that you began to think, I want to have an impact outside of just the College of Business Administration? What was it that made you think, if the provost opportunity opened up, that's something you'd go after, or was that something they'd approached you about? How did that work exactly?
Well, it actually, at the time, the provost, Pete Barr, had accepted a presidency at Glenville State in West Virginia.
West Virginia, yeah.
And so the position was open. I wanted to broaden my horizons, if you will, and take what success I had in the business school and see if I couldn't broaden it across campus itself.
Right.
And so during the year that I served as provost, my goal was probably twofold. One was to begin looking at where we could expand some of our programmatic offerings. And the other was, I'm well aware that faculty, by and large, in institutions like ours, especially in certain areas, are getting close to retirement age.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to put into place some programs that would incent, if you will, faculty to come to Coastal.
Right.
And we put in a minimum wage for faculty, especially in the hard-hit areas of humanities and liberal arts,
Right.
which in the next 5 to 6 years, the vast majority of the retirements are going to be in those areas. And there's going to be tremendous competition for those faculty. And so I wanted to get out ahead of that curve and have it known across this nation that Coastal Carolina University is serious about attracting good faculty and keeping good faculty. We coupled that with some compression study relief, at which time we made some significant adjustments to faculty salaries.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And making that commitment to faculty, and obviously their goal of not only being in the classroom, but doing some research as well and furthering their careers, but it not being a research mill. I mean, being here to teach and to do research and to really make a commitment there. So when you put out a notice like that to the country or to the world, I mean, you're saying we want you to be here and laying out those steps very easily.
Absolutely. And we want to attract faculty that could go to any university in the United States, but we want them here. And we're going to make sure that we attract fantastic faculty, but attracting them, again, is only half the equation. Right. You've got to find a way to retain them. Yeah. And so we're looking at a lot of different ways to ensure that we retain our faculty. We're also going to expand that analysis to our staff folks. Again, it's not a single person or a group that allows this university to achieve excellence. It's all of us. And we need to make sure, obviously within certain constraints of financials that we're looking at, but that we take care of all of our employees on this campus.
Financials are a really big deal, and something that a lot of folks, when they think about a university campus, oftentimes, where I think of my own alma mater in Winston-Salem, really being kind of surrounded and not everyone's seeing it.
Right.
And of course Coastal here, Coastal Carolina University, between whether it's 544 or 501, oftentimes folks don't see right into the campus. So they think about it over there and, oh, it's probably doing just fine. But it really is, there are issues on the statewide basis you have to think about finance.
Well, we do. We are roughly a $120 million a year operation. So it's a sizable budget that we have. We get about $16 million from the state. So the rest of the money is tuition driven, as well as other financial monies that we can get into the university itself.
Right.
But it is something you look at every day, and it's something that we need to make sure that we're managing our money properly, that we're spending it properly, and a lot of that is really focusing on linking our budgets to the strategic direction of this university.
Great. You've got a very active board as well.
do.
And a local chairing the board, which is wonderful. Billy Alford
Absolutely.
there, but a very active board that you work with on a. How often does the board interface with, let's say, the president? I mean, how often are you?
It varies by board member. I mean, we have meetings every other month. I mean, it's one of the things that when I became president, worked with Chairman Alford to increase the activity for board members with committee assignments as well as having them on campus. I want them to know what we're doing. I want them to be actively participating in the activities of the university itself. Obviously, those that are closer to the university, there's more involvement. But there are a lot of things on this campus that we're trying to do that I've gone to the board and have asked for their assistance. And they have stepped up to the plate and have delivered.
That's tremendous. It's been exactly a year now since ascending to the position as president. Lots happened over the last 12 months, literally May of '07. A lot's happened over the last 12 months. See, a real big push has been university reorganization.
Right.
Can you give viewers a sense of exactly, if someone said, I understand you all are going through or continuing a reorganization, what exactly does that mean? How does it impact the area?
The impact to the area should be relatively minor. At least that's what I'm hoping it will be. You know, I go back to when I was going through the presidential search. One of the things that I was saying throughout is, and while it's very simple to say, it obviously is much more difficult to put in place, but your structure has to be aligned to your strategy. As we have moved forward with the strategic planning, and we're getting close now to the point where, one, we've redefined our mission. That has been approved through all levels of the state. We are now ready to provide the overall strategic plan to the Board of Trustees at our June meeting. What the strategic plan is doing is setting the roadmap for our future. If form follows function, we've got the function in place. We've got the strategic initiatives laid out. I need to make sure that we have the appropriate structure that's going to allow us to achieve those strategic goals. And that's really what the reorganization is about, is realigning the pockets on this campus so that they're all moving toward the strategic direction.
And the strategic plan is, it sounds like the first of a kind.
Well, I'm not sure if it's the first of a kind.
Here, that's right. I mean, the first strategic plan initiated by the university, or no? Have they
there have
Sure.
been strategic plans
Okay.
on this campus. What I think was different about this one is Executive Vice President Eddie Dyer had initially used the comment that we opened up the flaps on the tent. It wasn't just a group of people on this campus, from faculty, staff, administrators, putting a plan together. We have them, but we wanted to involve our community. We wanted to involve all of our stakeholders. We wanted to involve anybody that touched this university. And we had broad representation. And I think when we unveil the plan, I think people are going to see what that broad representation actually brought about.
Yes, you're spiking some interest here.
Absolutely.
We're not going to let anything out here at the table. I suspect we were with Dr. Dyer there in the Wheelwright Auditorium a number of months ago, and of course he was highlighting Dr. Taylor Domke DeMont, and of course all of her efforts there to really reach out and, as you said, open the flaps and involve the community. And that involved also traveling around to make sure the community wasn't necessarily traveling to Conway or wasn't traveling up 501 or 544, but you all were coming to the community.
We went to the community. Again, we wanted to hear what they perceived Coastal Carolina University was about.
Right.
And we've got a lot of information coming in that some of it was very positive,
Right.
Some of it they gave us some challenges that we faced.
Right.
That's what we needed.
Yes.
And that enabled us to really put a plan together that will, quite frankly, take us certainly the next 5 to 10 years, but it's going to chart the path for the future of this university for the next 50 years.
That's tremendous, Dr. DeCenzo. That is wonderful. As we think about it for our viewers in the Myrtle Beach area proper, or that side of the waterway, is there some hope for them that they will get back the old Myrtle Square Mall location, or obviously not that location, but to get back? I know you've got a campus down at Litchfield. one down in Georgetown or have had
Right.
presence down there. Clearly, this major campus right here. What about any opportunities there in the Myrtle Beach proper?
We currently have some discussion going with two organizations
Great.
to revitalize the Myrtle Beach campus.
Yes.
It's a must. We have to do that. We have lost our branding ability in Myrtle Beach. We've lost significant numbers of students who were coming to the Myrtle Square Mall, and it's my hope that within the next 12 months we will have a facility up and running in the Myrtle Beach, downtown Myrtle Beach area.
That's tremendous. I think I also saw a stated plan to grow the head count to 12,500 within the next 5 years. That's a very aggressive goal as well.
Well, it's an aggressive goal, but we're not growing just head count. We're growing quality head count.
Good.
And
Yeah.
I think, again, it's not just one simple thing. I believe the last few numbers I looked at, we're going to have between 17 to about 1,750 new freshmen on our campus. It'll be our largest
In a couple of months.
in a couple of months. We'll probably have the largest transfer population that will be joining us for the fall 2008 semester. But overall, we probably had 7,000 to 8,000 applications for those 1,700 seats.
Is that right?
That's the caliber of the applications that are coming in. Our goal is to manage that growth in a way that, one, I want to make sure that we have, obviously, the faculty in the classrooms. I don't want to put students in a classroom and have them so large that we lose that personal touch. So there are a lot of components that we're looking at that are going to enable us to make that happen.
That word quality ahead of head count I hadn't seen before, but you're right on. It's kind of the old idea of not practice makes perfect, but perfect practice. You've got to practice the essentials, and in the same way, the quality head count is critical. When you think about that, what is the influx coming from? You highlighted the transfer student. Where is that population coming from? Is that local, or is it from all over the Carolinas, or all over?
Well, a good bit of the transfers are in fact coming local. We have put in several practices and procedures that we're looking at developing much stronger relationships with Horry Georgetown Tech.
Right.
In fact, this year we have hired an advisor, and that person's office is in Tech. We're looking at a lot of different ways through a bridge program that we've had in place for a couple of years, which a student who may not have all of the requirements to get into Coastal Carolina University will start at Tech, and then it's a seamless transition. And we're looking at finding ways to blend our two campuses so that we can make the transition a lot smoother.
And Tech knows what you're doing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
This is not, we'll be with President Wilson next week on the campus there at the Elizabeth Maddox Chapin Library there on the Grand Strand campus, and sure want to talk to him about that. But the fact that they know what you're doing is a great thing. And of course, oftentimes, folks at foundation board meetings there will talk about, well, what is the big deal? Why is Coastal so hot right now and we may not be? Well, of course, he always highlights David Bennett, not David DeCenzo. And of course, Coach your superstar Ellis, that's right. Coach Ellis and so many other amazing coaches you've got and players. And athletics oftentimes has that great symbiotic relationship with academics and a campus.
And we have that relationship. You know, it's been said before that your athletics becomes your front door, and there are achievements that we're seeing in the athletic department that are giving us the awareness. We could not afford that kind. You know, to have Jerome Simpson be drafted in the second round of the draft, to have two football players go into the professionals, you can't buy that kind of marketing, and that just reinforces, it at least brings attention to us. Then we can tell people what the academics is about too.
Surely from my hometown where my dad teaches, a guy named Coach Krzyzewski's obviously had the impact that you would never have imagined, that folks think of Coach K before they think of Duke probably now. And in the same way, I'm sure, hopefully they'll continue to think of Coastal first before anyone on the athletic side, but athletics are critical.
Well, they are, but I'm equally as proud of all of our athletic administration and coaches, because we truly reinforce one thing on this campus, and that is they are student athletes. They are expected to be good students, and they are. And the coaches reinforce that, which you love to see.
It speaks for itself. We've run out of time. I hope you're willing to come back and be with us tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Stay tuned to a little more of Dr. David A. DeCenzo coming up next. I was trying to think of a great way to wrap Dr. David A. DeCenzo, Dad, as many folks call him here on campus, and I thought what better way than a recent evaluation of all aspects of the university, including its people. This is the last page of the overview, just this quick sentence. He has calmed troubled waters, improved presidential administrative credibility, opened a public inspection of a variety of administrative and financial processes, dealt forthrightly with financial and audit difficulties, initiated several important academic program proposals, and begun a strategic planning process. Dr. DeCenzo's personable, problem-oriented approach to the affairs of the day has gone over well with nearly all. Under his leadership, Coastal Carolina seems poised to continue its surge forward. We got to surge forward to tomorrow. Come back for part 2 of Dr. David A. DeCenzo. Thanks so much for being with us.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.